As promised yesterday, it's Friday afternoon, and the Simpademic with Jason coming at you here from sunny and very windy Minnesota. And I am here with a very stark message today, and it's not a very pretty picture. And here's what I wanted to share. I shared a video on my Twitter X page about women being replaced by robots. And unfortunately, here's the problem. Women, particularly in the West, have reached the point at which the expectations are so high, they're ridiculously demanding. And in my particular case, as I mentioned before, they have reached the level of entitlement to where if you don't particularly meet their insane qualifications, 6 feet tall, six-figure income, six-pack abs, the list goes on, you're out of the picture and you're basically invisible to them. And unfortunately, the solution for this is actually going to be a bigger problem in and of itself. And that solution is robot women. And lest you think that this is some kind of dystopian science fiction story, it is dystopian, but it's not going to be science fiction for much longer. Elon and his folks are to the point right now where this is, as far as a viable, competent, human-like version, we are only 3 to 5 years out right now on this one. And it's very, very sad when push comes to shove. That men are going to have to turn to these things in order to get their need for companionship, amongst other things, met. And before the women get all snappy at me and start blaming us for the situation because we're somehow incapable, remember, you're talking to the guy who approached a woman to ask her out to brunch at a church and was reported to the staff, who then proceeded to make my life a living hell until I left on my own. And the reason why I believe this particular church did this was legal. And they needed to get rid of me in order to eliminate their risk of being sued by this woman. And again, I did not do anything wrong. I asked her in a very, very busy corridor. She really did feel uncomfortable with me. Help was 6 feet away. Tops. In any direction. Now, do I plan on buying a robot girlfriend? No, I don't. But there's another option that started looking very good. And I also posted a video of this on my Twitter X page. And I kind of jokingly posted a picture of this guy in the Czech Republic snapping picture of a very gorgeous, beautiful woman police officer. And he kind of has like, the setup here where you can take pictures with a phone, but then also has a printer with photography paper on it. And he was able to hand her this picture he took of her. Very, very honest, forthright, and flattering. And I was like, all right, guys, I'm off to the Czech Republic to get myself arrested. But would I rule out the possibility of moving to an Eastern European country, such as the Czech Republic or Slovakia or a couple of other ones where I have personally met very high quality women from? They're already in relationships, but so those specific ones are not in the picture. But I'm thinking Latvia and Poland. Women in that part of the world are simply kinder, more respectful, and they just will not trash a man for simply being themselves. Those countries in particular seem to be passport bro destinations these days. And as much as I would like to believe that we have a lot of black pill content out there, men going their own way, MGTOW. Unfortunately, the bottom line and the saddest part of all this is there's some truth to what those channels are saying. And while I can't find myself going the MGTOW route, unfortunately on the robot front, right now they're thinking that these things would cost about $100,000, which is out of the budget of most typical men. And the men who can afford that also have enough money to, to be a Chad or a Tyrone in real life and get an actual woman that way because they have the financial resources and they fall in that top 10% of men that 80% of the women go after. However, as with most technological advances, the cost will go down over time. And, we're 3 or 5 to 5 years away from this being a reality. And beyond that, I think it's going to take a few years for the cost to reach a point where the typical man can start financing and achieving it. I think that mark in particular is about the $30,000 mark. Once you get below that point, the risk-reward factor starts to favor these things over actual women. As I've mentioned before, I am a evangelical devoted Christian. This is just not a realistic path for me personally, but I think it is a warning signal and a flashing red siren to the rest of society right now that for women, they need to start adding value to men's lives. I'm content with living without one. I would love for it to happen. There are days where I just feel like I could use one. Now, am I going to spend $30 in financing to get one? Probably not. That's a bit of too much of a financial burden to carry. Not for me. But we're looking at the way women behave, particularly online. They're giving these manosphere channels, they're making it just way too easy. I mean, the AI, the manhood, men only, cosmic verse types of channels which do not have a human creator. They are AI generated, AI farmed. The only human behind those particular channels, excuse me, are the ones who are cashing the checks. But women who are putting this content out there in order to be able to monetize themselves are simply making it way too easy for these channels to broadcast their material. And then you get situations like mine, where real women have rejected not only harshly, but very dangerously. To the point where I don't even really try. If she does come along, my God will provide her. In this society, in this environment, with my history, I'm incapable of doing it myself. My God will have to do it for me. But we have a lot of men out there who don't have faith, and they're going to turn to these robot companions. We are in a very dystopian, dangerous situation. Women are about to be replaced, and it's going to be to our detriment. The birth rates that I've talked about before on this channel, the fertility rates, which are already in the negative, are going to plunge even further. The birthplace of the 4B movement, which is South Korea, has the lowest fertility rate in the world. 2.10 is what is required for every woman of childbearing age and capability. 2.1 seems to be the number that is settled on as the number required to maintain a population. South Korea, which birthed the 4B movement, is at 1.26. That means each generation will be 74% smaller than the previous one. The United States right now is at 1.71. Each generation is going to be 29% less than the previous one. These robot women are going to actually make that exponentially worse. Unless what I'm hearing, there is some things that I'm hearing right now where these robot AI women will actually have the capability to actually birth physical children, and artificial eggs, uteruses, and things like that will also be a thing in the future. But again, for 3 to 5 years away from the actual robots, that is probably still 15 to 20 years down the road. So we are in very dangerous and dystopian times. We need to figure this one out. We need to do it fast, before the robots come into the picture and the men who are invisible start turning to them. Again, I'm one of the invisible men, but I have a faith in our Creator, our God, which will just not allow me to go down this route. But sad to say, most men do not possess this. And so I leave on this note. Everybody's going to have to pick up the game a bit. Otherwise, this dystopian reality is going to come into the picture. Because right now, the only person that's picking it up is Elon Musk and men like him who are creating this reality. And they're advancing fast. So we need to become better as men and women and eliminate this market as much as we possibly can. I don't want the men who are creating this alternate dystopian reality to get wealthy off of men's desperation. So I'm going to continue to say this. Everyone, all of us, including myself, we need to do better. Because this dangerous dystopian society is knocking on our doorstep. And unless we figure this out, we might go extinct. And so before we off ourselves, I'm just going to say, think of all the ways that you can do better. I'm going to think of all the ways that I can do better. Drop them in the comments. I love to hear these ideas, because the only way that we're going to resolve this is together. On that note, I leave you. Enjoy your Friday with this dystopian society around the corner. I will say again, don't do anything stupid this weekend. Call that Uber, call that cab. Don't drink and drive. We'd like you to be alive to help solve this problem. So please just don't do anything stupid this weekend. Enjoy your weekend. The wind is probably going to blow us. It's probably going to blow half of Minnesota into Canada, but that's okay. Excuse me. So you folks have a good weekend. Peace out.